The truth is, 3 out of 4 people are dehydrated, meaning that they aren't receiving the adequate liquids daily like they should be. And considering that over half of our bodies are made of water, we should be drinking enough to stay hydrated, like we should be. But what if I were to tell you that there's actually a formula out there that hydrates you 2 times faster than water alone? Enter Liquid IV, a non-GMO electrolyte drink mix that provides 3 times the electrolytes of typical sports drinks and 5 essential vitamins. I've personally tried their products, and I have to say that passion fruit is my favorite. Right now, if you use my code AlyssaHope in all caps, you'll receive 15% off of their products and free shipping. Simply click the link below to get started. And now, on to the video. Even when the Edmonton Oilers decided to draft defenseman Darnell 7th overall in 2013, Nurse had already cemented a reputation for himself as being hard to play against, meaning that due to his physicality, frame, and brute strength, Nurse was and is known as a warrior on the back end. However, throughout his time thus far representing Edmonton, Nurse has racked up his own list of jerk moments. In this video, we're going to be going over a handful of jerk moments from Nurse himself. And with that, here are the top 5 jerk moments from Darnell Nurse. If you've been a hockey fan for a significant amount of time, then you'll probably be familiar with the Battle of Alberta, as every time the 2 teams within the province face each other, things tend to get heated between them both. And this regular season meeting in Oil Country last season was no exception. With Calgary up 1-0, Nurse, who was deep in the offensive zone, was upended while trying to keep the play going by Nikita Zadorov. Even though the hit itself appeared to be of a clean nature, this angered Nurse to the degree that he decided to retaliate by cross-checking his opponent in the back. After receiving a penalty on the play, the defenseman continued to argue his case, to no avail. During the second game of last year's Western Conference Finals, things weren't exactly going well for Nurse and his team by the 3rd period, as the Avalanche had dominated the contest by scoring 4 goals that weren't answered by Edmonton. Therefore, with less than a minute to go in the game, Nurse had to be feeling frustrated at that point in time, and in an attempt to let out some frustration, Nurse turned to Nichushkin, who was at the time deep in the Oil zone. After his opponent briefly touched the puck, Nurse decided to repeatedly cross-check Nichushkin unprovoked. For his actions, Nurse was made to sit in the box for the remaining seconds on the clock. Even though Connor McDavid and company were able to skate away victorious in their most recent home opener, well, the team's start to the game wasn't as great as its finish, and it was Nurse who was feeling the frustration late in the first period. After Evander Kane delivered a legal check to Burrows, Nurse decided to take a run at his opponent while he was vulnerable, hitting him directly afterwards. Due to his actions, the defenseman was dealt an interference penalty on the play, and following the Edmonton win, Nurse was also fined $5,000 by the league also for interference. Prior to the Western Conference Finals of last postseason, the Oilers were given the Los Angeles Kings as their first opponent to face, and it was during the remaining seconds of the middle frame of play that Nurse seemed to lose control in his own end. As Phillip Danault was standing outside the crease, he battled briefly with Nurse for a bit while hoping for a rebound opportunity. Directly after, while Mike Smith was freezing the puck to stop play, Nurse decided to headbutt Danault viciously. Even though he didn't receive any in-game punishment, following Game 5, Nurse was dealt a 1-game suspension for his actions. I guess you could say that this is a similar scenario, as most of the moments on this list. The Oilers are losing, and there's only a few seconds left in the period, and or game entirely. And this time, it was the latter. While facing the San Jose Sharks at home, Nurse had apparently had enough of Roman Polak's antics. Polak, who had, in Nurse's opinion, delivered a dirty hit onto his teammate, Matt Hendricks, was given a rude awakening shortly before the game ended, as Nurse decided not to challenge Polak to a fair fight, which would have been the legal thing to do, but instead blitzed his opponent entirely and began throwing relentless punches before Polak could even take his gloves off. Following the game, Logan Couture had this to say about what he witnessed. He was trying to change, and Nurse has the puck, shoots at him, then drops his gloves and jumps him. Roman didn't even have time to get his gloves off. Our guy was already on the ice because Roman was coming off. And then Nurse starts punching him. Roman couldn't even defend himself. It's clearly an instigator. I'm sure he'll be suspended, he says. As Couture foresaw, the incident didn't sit well with the NHL's player safety, as Nurse was suspended for 3 games due to being an aggressor, as the league worded it. The reasoning was that since Polak didn't throw a single retaliatory punch, that Nurse had jumped him unfairly and deserved to be punished in result. Due to the suspension, Nurse ended up forfeiting around $14,000 in salary.